Tim Ferriss's 3 best-selling books, 4-Hour Workweek, 4-Hour Body, and 4-Hour Chef, have made him a globally recognized authority on the question of how to learn anything difficult with ease and speed. And beyond that, to the question of what Tim calls meta-learning, how to use the experiences of learning one thing to learn anything well. In these talks, Tim describes how swimming was the skill that eluded him the longest.
So this type of thinking, questioning the obvious, transfers everywhere else. I didn't learn to swim until a few years ago, which is very embarrassing for someone who grew up on Long Island with a rat tail. It was always due to difficulty breathing and exhaustion from kicking. All of the lessons I tried focused on those things, and I failed. So I found a method, which is called Total Immersion swimming, that completely avoids it. And you practice by practicing in shallow water and then kicking off from the wall. You don't have to worry about breathing. You don't have to worry about kicking. It looks like this. Streamline left to streamline right, and repeat. Almost no kicking involved. In August, I took 2 weeks to re-examine swimming and question all of the obvious aspects of swimming, and went from swimming 1 lap, so 20 yards, like a drowning monkey, at about 200 beats per minute heart rate, I measured it, to going to Montauk on Long Island, close to where I grew up, and jumping into the ocean, swimming 1 kilometer open water, getting out and feeling better than when I went in. And I came out, my Speedos, European style, feeling like the Incredible Hulk. And that's what I want everyone in here to feel like, the Incredible Hulk at the end of this presentation. More specifically, I want you to feel like you're capable of becoming an excellent long-distance swimmer, a world-class language learner, and a tango champion. And I would like to share my art, if I have an art. It's deconstructing things that really scare the living hell out of me. So, moving onward. Swimming, first principles. First principles, this is very important. I find that the best results in life are often held back by false constructs and untested assumptions. And the turnaround in swimming came when a friend of mine said, I will go a year without any stimulants. This is a 6 double espresso per day type of guy, if you can complete a 1 kilometer open water race. So the clock started ticking. I started seeking out triathletes because I found that lifelong swimmers often couldn't teach what they did. And I tried kickboards. My feet would slice through the water like razors. I wouldn't even move. I would leave demoralized, staring at my feet. Hand paddles, everything. Even did lessons with Olympians. Nothing helped. And then Chris Sacca, who's now a dear friend of mine, had completed an Ironman with 103-degree temperature, said, I have the answer to your prayers. And he introduced me to the work of a man named Laughlin, who's the founder of Total Immersion Swimming, and that set me on the road to examining biomechanics. So here are the new rules of swimming, if any of you are afraid of swimming or are not good at it. The first is forget about kicking. Very counterintuitive. So it turns out that propulsion isn't really the problem. Kicking harder doesn't solve the problem because the average swimmer only transfers about 3% of their energy expenditure into forward motion. The problem is hydrodynamics. So what you want to focus on instead is allowing your lower body to draft behind your upper body, much like a small car behind a big car on the highway. And you do that by maintaining a horizontal body position. The only way you can do that is to not swim on top of the water. The body's denser than water. 95% of it would be, at least, submerged naturally. So you end up, number 3, not swimming in the case of freestyle on your stomach, as many people think, reaching on top of the water, but actually rotating from streamline right to streamline left, maintaining that fuselage position as long as possible. So let's look at some examples. This is Terry, and you can see that he's extending his right arm below his head and far in front, and his entire body really is underwater. And the arm is extended below the head is held in line with the spine, so that you use strategic water pressure to raise your legs up. Very important, especially for people with lower body fat. And then here's an example of the stroke. So you don't kick, but you do use a small flick. So you can see this is the left extension, and then you see his left leg, small flick, and the only purpose of that is to rotate his hips so he can get to the opposite side. And the entry point for his right hand, notice this, he's not reaching in front and catching the water. Rather, he is entering the water at a 45-degree angle with his forearm and then propelling himself by streamlining. Very important. Incorrect above, which is what almost every swimming coach will teach you. not their fault, honestly, and I'll get to implicit versus explicit in a moment. And then below is what most swimmers will find enables them to do what I did, which is going from 21 strokes per 20-yard length to 11 strokes in 2 workouts with no coach, no video monitoring. And now I love swimming. I can't wait to go swimming. And I'll be doing a swimming lesson later for myself if anyone wants to join me. Last thing, breathing, problem a lot of us have, certainly, when you're swimming. In freestyle, the easiest way to remedy this is to turn with body roll and just to look at your recovery hand as it enters the water. And that will get you very far. And that's it. That's really all you need to know.